Ready to go? Great. Jack Cagle, County Commissioner, conservative, business fiscally responsible. You may know him more lately, and the reason I chose these photographs rather than his glamour shot pictures where he's so pretty is he's always in County Commissioner's Court right now going, "Did you just say that? Are you serious? Did you hear what you just said?" And the answer is no. I got a real kick out of it the other day at Texas Tea Party Republican Women when I went up to see him address that and explain the problem. So because we know him, I'm not going to ask him to get into a whole lot of background. I'd rather, if you don't mind, talk about what you're facing in this race, because if everybody doesn't know, they just took him away from his district on the north side, right, and moved him over here to the west side.
Welcome.
Right? And so some of you know some of the problems with that, but you know, that was kind of a dirty political trick, but luckily he's lovable, but he's still got a fight on his hands to win this race. So why don't you tell us what we can do to help you do it?
How much time do I have?
How much do you want?
Well,
Because I'll bump anybody out.
I don't want to have,
At least 5 or 10.
10?
At least 5 or 10.
all right. You had the picture of the space astronaut.
Right.
My father was in the space program. And in the movie Apollo 13, there's this scene where the astronauts are flipping the switches to figure out how to circuit the electronics as to not overfry the boards that have been hit by the
Turn
meteor.
SCO to opt, auxiliary. Right.
That's my favorite scene, is where they're switching the switches, because the folks call out, the astronaut says, "Let's call sneak circuits." You see, sneak circuits' job was to prevent sneaky stuff from happening. In that instance, they tried to call them in to figure out how we could actually route the electronics around. But when things are working right, you should not have sneak circuits. And before I say what you can do to help me, I need to tell you, this is what we need to do, is we need to stop the sneak circuits. These people are claiming that they have funded more law enforcement than ever, and it is a lie. And I'll tell you why it's a lie. Just because you fund early childhood education and say that those kids are going to grow up and not commit crime, that's not law enforcement. A great tree planting program, and I'm in favor of trees, I'm in favor of parks, those are good things, but to call it law enforcement through environmental design, freshly planted trees are too skinny for me to hide behind. It is not law enforcement, it is a parks program. And we have multitude of issues. We have a bond that's coming up where they're spending $1 million to get a bond which you have to pass to find out what it's going to be in, while we still have $200 million left over from the 2015 bond. We don't need it, except for they need it for the $1 million to try to get select neighborhoods to the polls. It is a sneak circuit that we do not need. And the reason why they did the flip was because in this picture you see a stack that's this tall of red pieces of paper. That was everybody that emailed us or called us and said they did not want their taxes to go up 3 years ago. You cannot see it in this picture, but next to it is a stack that had 11 pieces of paper in it. Those were colored blue. Those are the people that said they wanted their taxes to be raised. Half of those folks were the employees of the 3 Democrats that were on court. And the other half were saying that there you go. There's the 4, and those are against having her taxes raised. Judge Hidalgo, when she did the flip, said that she did not like my party's rush to the bottom with regard to taxes. You see, we can raise your taxes anytime by asking the public and you vote on it. This is talking about raising your taxes without your consent, and that's going to be a big issue that's going to come up again here very, very shortly. So, as Judge Hidalgo said, this is an issue. You have a choice. You can try to knock me off so that they can have 4 people there that will vote for increasing your taxes without your consent. Or you can vote for me. It's a referendum. Now, how many of the folks in this room want your taxes to go up in this season, post-Harvey, post-pandemic?
Oh, please.
I don't see anybody wanting their taxes to go up in this group. Okay. How many of you, let me just do the truth, how many of you would like to not have your taxes go up? That would be a pretty large group. So,
Every homeowner, every brick and mortar business owner, I mean, this
So what can you do?
disaster.
there's 5 P's that you can do to help. The first of which is poll working. Over 2/3 of the vote will occur this time in early vote. And with the expanded hours that we now have on early voting locations, that becomes all the more important in early voting time. And so if you could donate some shoe leather to us to make sure that we have, there's an old stat that says that if someone is standing in front of a poll and they're holding your sign or wearing your t-shirt, even if you don't say anything to them, 1 out of 6 will vote for you just because that voter says there was someone willing to stand outside for you. And so if you can donate some of your time to stand outside of an early voting location, please contact us and let me know. Because we're gonna need poll workers, because this is gonna be a boots on the ground. And ironically, in this district, there are a lot of people who are low information voters.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of undecided voters, and you can impact 1 out of 6 by being there in this November. Number 2, postage. We're going to do a robust campaign to where we ask people to send friend-to-friend letters. You know, y'all get the junk mail, and there's gonna be a lot of junk mail this time. Abbott's gonna send a bunch, you're gonna get a bunch from Beto, you're gonna get a bunch from the lieutenant governor, but a postcard from a friend means something. And we are developing a card, we'll have them ready, and if you would send to your Christmas card list of folks that are in the new district saying, support Cagle, that is an endorsement that has much more impact than a junk mail piece. We'll be sending the junk mail too, but you can help us if you will participate in our Christmas card or our friend-to-friend postage campaign. We'll pay for the postage from the campaign, we'll bring it by and pick it up and mail it for you, but that's the second thing you can do. A third thing is, we all know that when Beto went through and put signs in yards, people said, oh gee, he's popular. Folks who didn't care, oh wow, we have yard signs. And I won't charge you $10, they're free. You let us know who you are and we will get a yard sign in your yard. And for those of you at business locations, we have our 4x8s as well that we would love to put up, because name ID when I'm in a new district becomes a lot more important than in the old district. And one of the reasons too why they need to do this is with that Beto way 4 years ago, I should have lost at 49%, but I won by almost 55. Crossover votes for folks who cared about having potholes fixed and the bathrooms in their parks cleaned.
So let's think about who we know, business owners over here on the west side. We know the King family. I know that Welcome's got some land over there. We all know business owners and landowners over there on this side, in this district. And what we need to do is we need to make the phone call and say, hey, can we get a sign out there for Jack Cagle for commissioner? Sometimes that's all it takes. If they say 1 to 1 property, they'll say yes. They'll say yes to 10. So don't be afraid to make that call. And those big signs, those 4x8s, that can be tens of thousands of automobiles every day driving by.
And if you have a property and my opponent's sign is put on there without your permission, you can get rid of it real quick. And let us know, and we'll even assist you. We can replace that one with one that does have permission to be there. The last thing that I want to talk about where you can help is a campaign like this where you're coming into a brand new district. I have the power of incumbency and experience. I have the ability during a Harvey, during hurricanes, during ice storms. We know how to serve well, but I don't have that 11 years of experience in this community, although we're doing our best. Getting that word out costs something, and so that last P is your pocketbook. And so if you would be willing to dip deep into your pocketbook so that we can pay for the signs, we can pay for the postage, we can pay for the shirts to go on the folks that are working at the polls, and we will also be doing our other media ads and buys, I would be greatly appreciative of that. And so I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk for my 10 minutes.
Yes, sir.
And if I had 1 minute left, I'll answer any questions.
Please, anybody have questions for Commissioner Cagle?
We want to stop the sneak circuits. That's your picture.
Yeah, that's right.
Are there any other conservatives that can join you?
Well, we have one in Tom Ramsey, who used to be the commissioner in this area, and they switched us. It's called greenfielding. You take someone out of their well-tilled soil, and you put them in a green field that's never been toiled. And so he's over in that zone. So if Ramsey and I are there, we need a third vote to stop some of this ridiculousness. And so the county judge, if even University of Houston just came out with a poll that said that if Abbott loses by 9 points in the county, then Lina Hidalgo can win by 1 point versus Mealer. Well, Abbott's not going to lose this county by 9 points. So get me a third vote. And what I'd love to have is a fourth vote. Jack Mormon has a real shot. When they drew these maps, they drew it in a way to where they thought that they would be bulletproof. They were greedy, but they weren't greedy enough. They went for too far, and Jack can win. And so I encourage you also to support, if you know folks that are over on the east side, to help him in his campaign as well.
That's what I was just doing, is pulling up the map again to look at, you would ask a good question, Bruce. This blue area in this new district, Jack Mormon's running, and Jack was our commissioner. He was conservative. He shocked everybody when he got in there and hustled and he won. And he's running again against Adrian. And
Lost by
we're hoping
1,700 votes last time. 1,700.
That's not many votes. Not many votes at all. You know. So we're hoping that Jack can do it. And he's been hustling, and he's been kissing a lot of babies and a lot of frogs, or whatever it takes, you know, down there in that district to get elected. If you live down in that area, help him out. Same thing. You know, we got to get more signs and get the word out. I love the idea that the commissioner has about the personal endorsement postcard. You get if maybe not for me, because you know where I'm at on every subject. But I mean, if David sent you a postcard, right? If Kiki sent you a postcard, if Darby did, about any particular race, you're going to think about that. You know, it may turn you around. It may actually get you to go to the polls where you may not have even gone to the polls. So please reach out to people with those. I think that's a great idea, and we're glad to do that. So, isn't your campaign staff?
Yes, we have signs with us today.
Yeah.
Ellis right outside the door there.
So if you'd like to have a yard sign, and if you'd like to get involved in some of these things that Jack talked about, helping get the word out to your friends in District 4, let's go ahead and reach out to him today. Right here, here he is, right here, so everybody knows who he is.
This is Wally. Say hello.
You may know him. He's been around BIZPAC. He's helped with a lot of campaigns, and so talk to him about yard signs, big signs for, you know, real estate, commercial real estate, and the mailers. Right?
Wally, what would be the best phone number for them to reach out to get to you?
713-658-5094.
Say that again.
713-658-5094. Just text me, Wally, and I'll get right back to you.
Wally at what?
All right.
What's your email?
We got
No, phone number.
We've only got how many months till we got before early voting? We have
November the 8th is the election, and early voting starts
October
tomorrow.
I can't remember.
October
Third week.
middle of October.
Yeah, so we've only got 8 weeks to save this county. It's October 24th. So we've got, what is it, 20?
October 24th.
Okay, yeah, we've got 8 weeks to save this county, something like that. Thank you.
Thank you all very
Commissioner
much for letting me be here.
Thank you. This is the first time that we've been able to get Commissioner Cagle over to BIZPAC, and we're just thrilled to have him because he actually fights for the things that we want to see happen at the county commission. So, I mean, at the county commissioner's court.
Joe, question about those brilliant idea of those postcards. Is there a program that you can whip up that can import our names from Outlook so that we don't have to sit there and handwrite it or make stickies and stick them on? Is there a way that could be done? Then you can print them all out?
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there is, but we haven't, I know
Part
that
of the
there
power
is.
though is when you write a card to
The handwriting is
Justin,
powerful.
and you wrote it, as opposed to the, you know, my wife does this when she gets something that looks like it's a handwritten script, she'll lick it and she'll put it on there, and if it smears, she throws it away.
Will you be having any fundraisers here pretty soon?
Yes, actually,
How do we get that information?
I have my campfire event, which we used to do in the north at the Tomball Veterans Hall, but we're going to be doing it in Katy.
Okay.
And it'll be at the rodeo grounds.
How about we get it on our website and get it out on a mailer, on our email list to everybody?
We'll be selling
Everything
sandwiches at
Cagle
$5.
campaign television.
Barbecue sandwiches at $5, but we like donations beyond that. But the goal is, and we were, in the last year that we did it, I think that we ended up selling almost 2,500 barbecue sandwiches for regular folks at $5 a pop. I wasn't going for the $5 a pop. We raised a whole lot of money to sponsor it, but we also had 2,500 folks from the community that were coming in and buying the sandwiches who now were invested in the campaign. And so, new territory, it took us a while to build up to that size. We don't know how many will be there. So come, get a sandwich and leave it at home.
So we've got, on the BIZPAC website, if you sign up on the
BIZPAC could
homepage.
do a fundraiser for me.
Oh, we can clearly do a fundraiser. If you members want to do that, just start talking, we'll put it together and we'll do that. We're glad to do that. Absolutely. So what I was going to say, bizpac.us, anything that the campaign that he has, we'll get it on there to make it easy for you to find it, because there's other folks that we're also supporting that are you know, they're the ones making our agenda happen, you know, that we're working with, and thank goodness they're listening to us and listening to business owners. The way BIZPAC works is you deal with your elected officials and they hear the voice. Otherwise, they may have never heard what was important to you as a business owner. You know, that's how we do it. I love when we go into the state capitol. I use this as an example. When we go to the state capitol, and I mean, if you've been there, you know what it's like. We may have, you know, 4, 5, 6 meetings and get pulled down to the floor of the Senate to give a senator a briefing for an hour and a half. That's, raise your hand if you were there for that, you know. But I mean, that's really what happens. And so, that briefing wasn't me giving the briefing. That was Dr. Elias Jackson, one of the world's foremost authorities on genetics and cannabinoidal health. You know, I mean, it's like that. We got in when you were a kid, did you ever play football and you're against the other team and you're down in the dirt and you're going to go do a down and out and you're doing a post and you go fake and come back for the sweep, I'm really handing you the ball, right? We go into politicians' offices, and that is what we do, is we sandlot football play, and then we all take off running down the halls. And before they know it, when they're going for the vote, the people that were trying to block it don't know what happened, and we got something good done for business. That really happens like that, you know? So anyway, so that's kind of a quick rundown. We're gonna move over to, thank you again. Thanks, Zach. Thank you.